you ready?
Welcome to Brands Hatch. The Radical Clubman's Championship is here this weekend. It's a typically British summer's day with clouds, sun trying to peep through, and it's even a little bit chilly. But never mind that, this weekend we'll be catching up with the Swedish team and finding out how their fortunes are faring in this championship. And over here, if we cross over, is Tyrone. Tyrone, your team manager for the Swedes who are racing here. First of all, why do you race in the UK?
Well, we are an established team in Sweden, done Radical for like 4 years, and took a lot of podiums with the good drivers over there, so we want to try our luck in Great Britain.
And how do you find the drivers up against the British drivers? There is a big difference?
I don't think it's a big difference between the drivers, but it is a very big difference between the tracks in UK. In Sweden, the tracks are quite smaller, more bends and so on. So the drivers actually think there is very little bends in UK. So that's why I think one of the reasons they are fast.
And of course, racing here in the UK, getting to know the new circuits as well is a challenge. But these drivers seem to be doing very well.
Yeah, they are doing very well. They are all up to it. So they are hungry for wins.
And the engineers, how are they finding setting up the cars for the different circuits?
Yeah, no problem at all. We keep everything logged through all the races, and so we can always go back and check settings, and of course then you have the testings during the Friday, so you can do some setup testing that day too.
Perfect stuff. Tyrone, thank you very much. We'll catch up with some of the drivers after qualifying. Tyrone is quite the taskmaster and expects results from these boys, and that's what they've managed to convert to in qualifying with a Q2, 3, 7 and 12. And of course in second place it's Oscar. Oscar, a good qualifying session for you.
Yeah, very good.
Do you like it here at Brands?
Yeah, it's a very nice track. A lot better than Sweden.
Why is it so much better?
Well, the asphalt is better, and it is very much up and down the track, and yeah, it's just good.
So front row on the grid, do you think you can convert that to a podium finish?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Yes, but good qualifying, putting it on third for the grid.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And how's the car feeling today?
Yeah, not perfect, but it will be perfect for now, for the race, so it's okay. We have some problem yesterday, but now it's okay. So,
what is it you enjoy about racing with Radical?
It's a fantastic car. It's small and fast. It's like a big go-kart actually. And it's really funny. Yeah.
I do it for fun, and it's the goal is to eventually make a living out of this. And I think Radical is a good first step. And this is my fourth season or third season in the PR6. And I won the Swedish Championship last year, so I think I'll manage this year as well.
Well, certainly high hopes, and your prospects look strong, having won a championship in the past. What is it you want to progress to, from Radicals through to where? I guess sticking with single-seater, or is it going across to sports cars more?
It's a very natural progression step from a Radical. And of course, the most natural step is to go up to either the SR3 or the SR8. The SR8 has a nice winning pole that you can win an LMP2 test if you win that championship. So the goal might be that I end up there and win that championship as well.
Eric, qualifying in P12, probably slightly disappointing for you up against your teammates, but still, the work can be done in the race.
Yeah, I'm happy because it's just my second race, so I'm happy with the result, definitely.
Well, for your second race, that is a good result. And up against the drivers here, a lot of the British drivers who know the circuit very well. Is that intimidating for you? Is it more of a challenge?
Yeah, of course, it's a big challenge, but it's good for me. It's like a practice for me too, to get to learn more and more. So I'm happy.
And what is it you enjoy about the Radical cars?
Yeah, of course, it's speed. It's really go really fast, so it's really fun.
Cars coming to the grid then with Lewis Plato in the bright yellow machine on pole. There are Oscar Kruger and Jesper Westerholm in move up to the Supersport car for Mark Abbott this weekend. He lines up just ahead of Simon Garmston as we're ready for the off here at Brands Hatch. Red lights on. Revs rise out the go. This is a brilliant start from Jesper Westerholm, also well away further back. Andy Cummings as Westerholm squeezes through. He takes the lead from Lewis Plato and Oscar Kruger, but look for the black and yellow car of Andy Cummings from a long way down the outside of the row, 6th on the grid, and he's up to 4th as they climb the hill towards Druids for the first time, where it is Westerholm who leads from Plato and Oscar Kruger further back. It's all very busy in the midfield as the drivers look to gain ground. Slight contact there between Max Hilliard and Simon Garmston. They should both recover as out of Graham Hill Bend comes the leading quintet, with Marcello Maricioso very much part of that. But leading the way after that start is Jesper Westerholm. He's got Lewis Plato doing what he can to close in on him. Also Eric Stillman, one of the Swedish drivers, trying to move on up through the field. A little bit of a ride across the curbs as well for Simon Hulton, who quite had to get the way that he was hoping for as they streak through, complete the first lap of the race. And in fact, that emerges the one second and third between Lewis Plato and Oscar Kruger, because the race leader Jesper Westerholm is through and trying to move clear of Lewis Plato. Well, Lewis Plato started the season with a brace of wretched starts at Snetterton. That wasn't such a bad getaway from Plato, but it was still tardy enough to cost him the lead of the race. So Lewis Plato in the SR3, the Supersport car, is sandwiched between two of the Pro Sport cars, the PR6, which here on the Brands Hatch circuit really requires agility, and deftness is often of a par of the Supersport cars as they're looking to make some ground. Number 17, that's Simon Hulton, we heard from earlier on. It's Graham Ridgway, number 55, the bright green car, who he's just popped up behind, and he has got teammate Eric Stillman just behind him, and also John McLeod as well as part of that battle in the Stanken vehicle engineering machine. You know, it's a Stanken car, so it's covered in pink as they sprint through, complete the lap with Graham Ridgway leaving space, the outs, inside and through, diving through, taking the place there, Simon Hulton. And that was all a little bit easy for Hulton as somebody has kicked up the dust, as now Ridgway has to be busy defending from Eric Stillman. They're doing battle over something like 7th position. Ridgway covering the inside lines. Graham Hill Bend then moves to take the racing line and nipping through and zipping up to take the place. Eric Stillman and Graham Ridgway twice in 3 corners has left a Pro Sports width of the inside line, and that has been enough to cost him 2 places. And now Ridgway's under pressure from John McLeod, and also Tom Jordan, who is in the black and blue car, number 8, right on his tail. So they accelerate out of Clark Curve and on to the Brabham Straight once more. Fantastically lively start to this race in the Radical Clubman's Cup, as it's Tom Jordan who's had a very strong start to the 2013 season, both the SR3 Challenge and the Clubman's Cup. Who makes ground as running off through the gravel trap is Aaron Bailey, and that's going to cost him a place to Eric Stillman as he rejoins in time to cover the racing line there in front of Graham Ridgway at Druids. And these cars always absolutely on the limit of adhesion. Big slick tyres, big rear spoilers, as McLeod now looks to the inside. Graham Ridgway jinking through Surtees, no way through there. McLeod then tries to outdo him on the brakes and gets very sideways and somehow avoids clobbering Ridgway. He's going to lose the place there to Tom Jordan, and that was very nearly a rotation, if not something slightly worse for John McLeod, who unfortunately makes that mistake at the worst possible point on the lap. So he is also passed by Paul Marsham as well in the number 39 car. Marsham is followed through as well by, I think, Richard Stables. Meanwhile, back at the front of the race, it is still Jesper Westerholm who is leading the way from Lewis Plato. So Lewis Plato, he's moved clear of Oscar Kruger. There's Kruger in 3rd position, and Plato now begin to ask all the right questions of Jesper Westerholm. The problem is that the braking zones here in these radicals at Brands Hatch are so short, particularly on the Indy circuit. For Lewis Plato to be able to draw alongside is not the work of a moment. It's going to take lap after lap of chipping away by a 10th or 2 here or there, trying to get into terms. When you've done that, then you're involved in a sort of battle like the one we're seeing between Bailey, Ridgway and Tom Jordan. So Graham Ridgway, who always seems to go well here at Brands Hatch, trying to close up onto the tail of the bright red car, number 30, Aaron Bailey. He's got Tom Jordan though with him. His never-present shadow after that error from John McLeod. He has rather slipped from contention in this little group, which plunges downhill at Paddock Hill Bend once more. The steep climb to Druids. The prize then chasing down is Steve Burgess in 9th position, who's just up the road ahead of them. Also Paul Marsham is driving himself onto the tail of this group very, very rapidly as well, so it could quite soon become a 5-car squabble this. Tom Jordan, though, has got a good run here on Graham Ridgway as Ridgway ran wide at Graham Hill Bend, and Jordan looks to the inside line. Graham Ridgway just moving across in time to cover the line. That was looking very tight. Again, Ridgway plants his car pretty squarely in the middle of the road through clearways. He's going to make Tom Jordan do it the hard way here, and Jordan not quite able to craft the opening he needs, but all of that has brought Paul Marsham emphatically into the fight. Marsham, the orange and black and white car, number 39. Further down the order, plenty of things to be found. This is Gavin Forsyth on the tail of Brian Murphy. Murphy, the bright red Pro Sport, number 57, who's got the inside line, Paddock Hill Bend, so there's no way through there for number 12 car of Gavin Forsyth. And they are all onto the tail of Mark Abbott. As we said earlier on, he's stepped up to the Super Sport car. We're used to seeing him working wonders in the Pro Sport, but he is in an SR3 this weekend. And he's being chased down by Brian Murphy. Gavin Forsyth, and also got Jennifer Ridgway as well, who is part of that battle. And right to the head of that queue is Steve Quick in his first season of Radical Racing. This is the beauty of the Radical Clubman's Cup. If you look throughout the field, there is always plenty of close dicing going on, plenty of fun to be had for the drivers and spectators alike, as Forsyth once more winds up the SR3 to the outside line, long Graham Straight, looking to test Brian Murphy. In the meantime, the race leader is getting involved in the traffic, so sprinting through over the line then goes Jesper Westerholm. He's still got Brian Murphy on his tail. It's Sam Osborne, who they were passing. Lewis Plato then closing up on to Westerholm. He gets within a car length as well, under braking into Druids. So Lewis Plato beginning to come towards the race leader. And this is often what we see in the Radical Clubman's Cup, is that as the race wears on, the Pro Sport drivers, if they're not careful, they just overexert the tyres on those cars, and that allows the Super Sports to get back onto terms. So Lewis Plato, he's got a little bit of time on his side here, not an awful lot though, because we're probably 2/3 or so of the way through the race. Westholm's just going to get his head down, keep reading off the laps here at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit. If he's able to do that, stick to his guns, then he makes the task for Lewis Plato very challenging indeed. The pair of them swoop down through Paddock Hill Bend. You can see this group of cars are going to be closing up onto very shortly. Jennifer Ridgway trying to pick her way up past Gavin Forsyth, who in turn is continuing to have a very good view of Brian Murphy's rear spoiler, because he's been up behind that car for several laps now. He's drawn alongside them on a couple of occasions, but not been able to pick his way past. So part of that fight as well is Max Hilliard. The leaders are going to have to conduct this lappery before the checkered flag comes out here. As now Forsyth looks to have finally got the move on Brian Murphy. Murphy slithers wide, going through Clark Curve, and that's the opportunity that Gavin Forsyth needed. He's got the inside line now on the brakes, Paddock Hill Bend, and he should be able to squeeze out Murphy. That's exactly what he does. So swooping through the right-hander, down the hill, and up Halewood Hill towards Druids. Gavin Forsyth gains the place already. Brian Murphy under pressure from Jennifer Ridgway, who is about to go a lap down to Jesper Westholm, who's got Lewis Plato right on his tail. And Plato has done very well to be assertive through the traffic to really close that gap down. And this is the most at risk of losing his lead that Jesper Westholm has been throughout the course of the race. He's got the similar car of Brian Murphy, who's his next target. He's able to dive through into clearways. Does Murphy leave the hole for Lewis Plato? He does. That's really astute and gentlemanly driving from Brian Murphy. He saw the leaders coming, gave them the space that they needed, so they were able to sprint through and into another lap here. They go by dizzyingly quickly on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Further back, Chris Headlam doing battle with Simon Holton. So this is for 5th and 6th position, and Chris Headlam again hugging the pit wall on the Graham Straight, but Holton then looking to nip to the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. He's not quite close enough, but the Swedish Radical champion Simon Holton in fine form here at Brands Hatch. Around Druids he goes, a pair of them in turn in pursuit of Marcello Maratteotto, and this is one of the strongest performances we've really seen from Maratteotto, to be up into 4th position, battle for 5th and 6th then, and then just into 7th we have got Tony Wells. There is Tony, and he is being pursued as well by Eric Stillman. There's a spin for Graham Ridgway at Druids, so that unfortunately puts him a little bit lower down the order. That's a great shame for Graham, because he always seems to go so well here at Brands Hatch. He's in to Graham Hill Bend for the final time. Goes to race leader Jesper Westerholm, and he has been able to shake himself clear of Lewis Plato. There's Plato. He's just up behind Steve Quick, while Richard Stables it is who may or may not go a lap down to Jesper Westerholm before Westerholm arrives at the checkered flag. And after that electrifying start, the Swedish driver has controlled this race perfectly, and he is going to take victory in the first of the Radical Clubman's Cup races here at Brands Hatch. Second place goes the way of Lewis Plato, completes the rostrum is Oscar Kruger, but a super scrap going on now for 7th, 8th and 9th position with Tony Wells under real pressure from Eric Stillman. Here they come, accelerating out of Clark Curve, and Wells may just have enough here to hold on. They've also got Steve Burgess, who's part of that battle as well, so swooping across the line they all come. Very, very entertaining race with plenty of action throughout the field. So is the victory for Jesper Westerholm, second place Lewis Plato, and third for Oscar Kruger as they congregate on the top step of the rostrum.
Jesper, a fantastic race for you, a win here at Brands, and clearly you're very happy about that. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, thank you very much. The start was fantastic, so I took the lead and I drove as fast as I could, and it was enough.
Well, certainly made it look easy then.
No, not with easy, but I did my best and it was enough. So,
Oscar, P3, you happy with that?
Yeah, really happy.
Tell us about the race.
Well, I had some struggle with the pace in the beginning. I don't know why, but then I picked up the pace and did a good race. And Jesper and Plato was fast in the lead, so there was nothing I could do.
Looking forward to the next race?
Yeah, I am.
Simon, race 1 didn't go quite according to plan with its poor start. What are you going to do differently for race 2?
Well, obviously start better, but I have an even worse position in the beginning now of race 2, so I'm starting 11th. But we all saw that my speed was enough for a podium in the first race, so I'm hoping for a better result. Even.
Do you think you can pull up from P11?
Of course.
Well, a fantastic result for our young Swedes. Although I'm sure team manager Tyrone would have preferred to see them 1, 2, 3 on the podium. Let's see if his dreams come true in race 2, which is coming up next.
Where Lewis Plato rolls into pole position once more. Alongside him in the front row of the grid will be Oscar Kruger, row 2, just Westerholm, winner race 1, and Tony Wells as the revs begin to rise here at Brands Hatch. Second race of the day for the Radical Clubman's Cup is underway. It's the same rocket ship getaway from Jesper Westerholm, but a terrible start from Lewis Plato, who is left stranded on the grid once more. It's been a season of mixed starts from Plato, so it's Westerholm who leads from Oscar Kruger as they arrive into Druids for the first time. A few puffs of tyre smoke, but otherwise everybody is cleanly through, with Westerholm trying to pull clear of Kruger. Then we've got Steve Burgess and Tony Wells busy doing battle over third and fourth, and they have got Simon Holton right up behind them in fifth, with then Marcello Maritato, Graham Widgray, Tom Jordan, Chris Headlam and John McLeod. The next one through, and it's McLeod in the car with the pink rear wing end plates, who just moves to the inside of Chris Headlam. They've got Eric Stillman then immediately behind them as the battle for third, fourth and fifth comes together. Steve Burgess in the green orange car just clear of Tony Wells in the white and blue, and then we have got Simon Holton, who's done very well to get up from a lowly grid start to be in fifth position, benefiting perhaps from the dramas befalling Lewis Plato. Meanwhile, just Westerholm, Kruger busy sending out flying in formation in first and second. The rest of the field, though, all coming together. Nice battle will begin to form up as they head down into Graham Hill Bend once more through the left-hander. And Simon Holton, number 17, sets about closing in on Tony Wells. Wells in turn, though, is right on the tail of Steve Burgess, looking to pressurise Burgess because they are doing battle over the final spot in the rostrum. So will we see it being 3 Swedish drivers on the Brands Hatch podium, or will Steve Burgess and Tony Wells be able to hold off the challenger Simon Holton? We can also see Marcello Maritiotto as well getting onto the rostrum, because he is trying to close in on this battle up ahead as Holton just takes a big bite out of Wells' advantage on the brakes at Paddock Hill Bend, then extends itself a little bit as they climb up Halewood Hill onto the brakes for Druids. And Wells knows that Holton's coming, he covers the inside line, driving quite defensively here is Tony Wells, and that is very, very good news for Steve Burgess, because it's already given him the opportunity to open out a car length or so's worth of advantage on this lap. It may be even more by the time they reel off the tour of the circuit. We've got Maritato, Graham Ridgway, it's through Tom Jordan, John McLeod, and Eric Stillman. Then a battle that's shaping up between Chris Headlam and Andy Cummings. Here is Lewis Plato, who's moved ahead of Simon Garmston. So Lewis Plato having qualified in pole. He moved off the line dead last. He is beginning to climb up through the field, but he's in amongst some very high quality competitors as Paul Marsham, another driver, lower down the order. He looks to move to the outside of Mark Abbott. Mark, though, very, very talented driver, even if he's not quite got the car to his liking this weekend. He's certainly got the inherent talent and pace, and they have got Lewis Plato looming large on their tail. In fact, Plato's already dispensed with Paul Marsham. Mark Abbott, his next target, he's got Brian Murphy and Jennifer Ridgway just up ahead of him. So Lewis Plato, how far up the order can he race himself? Mark Abbott, his next target, he contemplates the move along the Cooper Straight. Really quite the time or opportunity before they arrive into Surtees. But then the inside line for Clearways is a golden opportunity to take the place. Mark Abbott sees him coming, gives him the car's whip. Absolutely no more than that. They go absolutely wheel to wheel, side by side along Bramham Straight, but it's Lewis Plato who's got the inside line, which means that by the time he arrives into Palankill Bend, he should be able to make that move stick on Mark Abbott, and that is exactly what happens as he then begins to climb up Halewood Hill in pursuit of Brian Murphy, who has got Jennifer Ridgway still just ahead of him, and they are having a nice battle over position for a while, though. It is Jesper Westerholm who is looking as if he is increasingly well set to do the double this weekend at Brands Hatch, because Oscar Kruger is there or thereabouts in second position. He's certainly not on the tail of Westerholm. Let's see where Kruger is. There he is. He's a good 2 or 3 seconds back. A pair of them likewise well clear of the rest of the field. So whilst they have got the legs on the opposition, they're being helped a little bit by the fact that Steve Burgess, Tony Wells and Simon Holton are still busy doing battle in that order. So it's Burgess clear of Wells, then Holton in 5th, and Simon Holton's just not quite been able to get himself near enough to the tail of Tony Wells to really make that challenge for position as they flick through the left-handed Surtees, then begin the never-ending right at Clearways. Can't overtake, we've got waved yellow flags, but the car off in the gravel track, so they have to slow down through there, and it means that Steve Burgess is consequently under no particular threat along the Bramham Straight from either Wells or Holton. Towards the braking zone of Palankill Bend they go, swooping downhill as we have a look at the reason for that yellow flag, and it's Brian Ridgway, slightest of contacts with Tom Jordan. Ridgway comes to a halt at the very proximity of the gravel trap, no damage done, but unfortunately that is enough to bring out the waved yellow flags. It means that Lewis Plato is slightly thwarted his efforts to climb up the order. His next target is John McLeod. He'll be able to move clear of McLeod at Palankill Bend. Yes, he does. He sells in the dummy, looks to the outside, then swoops across and snatches the inside line. So Lewis Plato is clear of John McLeod. His next target being Chris Headlam. So he's up into 9th position is Lewis Plato, which, given that he moved off the line in something like 26th, is no mean feat. Andy Cummings and Richard Stables busy having a nice tussle as they get themselves up onto the tail of Chris Headlam, of John McLeod rather, and this is really the beauty of the Radical Clubman's Cup. There's always something to race with throughout the field. Yellow flags retracted at Clearways, and that is the opportunity for Richard Stables as Cummings is quite slow through Clark Curve and he peels off into the pit lane. Richard Stables is going to lose a couple of places here. Mark Abbott goes past him, so does Brian Murphy, and also Paul Marsham. They well fancy a challenge into Palankill Bend. He's not quite close enough though, Marsham, so it's only a couple of places lost from Richard Stables. These drivers all doing battle just outside the top 10 positions or so. Trying to bring himself into that mix as well is going for Forsyth. It's Mark Abbott around Graham Hill Bend. Still Brian Murphy on his tail in one of the Pro Sport PR6 cars. And then Richard Stables, Paul Marsham and the rest. Simon Garmston doing battle with Steve Quick, and he has just gone back down to the second place car, Oscar Kruger, and Kruger still in pursuit of the race leader, Jesper Westerholm, but Westerholm, here he is. Well, that gap has come down slightly through the traffic. Well, all the while, though, Westerholm has got enough of an advantage, doesn't really need to be too concerned as he moves towards the latter stage of the race here at Brands Hatch. And this has been a very, very impressive performance from Jesper Westerholm this weekend, because not only has he made 2 absolutely electrifying starts, once he's had the lead, he's been able to maintain that lead and control the race really to perfection. So climbing Halewood Hill once more, the race leader, Jesper Westerholm, Oscar Kruger there in second. The fight for third continues to rage, by the way, between Steve Burgess, Tony Wells and Simon Holton. as around Graham Hill Bend, just pitching the car into a slight slide. Here is the battle then, 3rd, 4th and 5th, and Holton asking all the right questions of Tony Wells as they head around Graham Hill Bend. Wells still just slightly detached from Steve Burgess. If he can get a car length or so closer to Burgess, then Tony Wells would really stand a good chance here of snatching 3rd position, but traffic could well be a factor in the latter stage of the race as well, because we've seen the sort of gaggle of cars that Jesper Westholm has had to pick his way through. Well, that is no longer a concern for Westholm. He is on his final lap and has got his teammate Oscar Kruger far enough behind him not to cause any particular concerns. So it's now for Westholm a case of listening for every gear change, every throttle pickup, making sure that nothing goes wrong with his immaculately prepared PR6. It's so rare that these cars encounter any problems. Westholm instead can concentrate on his driving through clearways for the final time. It's going to be a double win at Brands Hatch in the Radical Clubman's Cup for Jesper Westerholm. He accelerates along the Bramham Straight. The checker flag is already awaiting, and he takes the victory with 2nd place going the way of Oscar Krug. But what about the fight for 3rd? It's very, very tight as they come through 3rd to the final time, and it's side by side between Burgess and Wells, who gets collected by Simon Garmston, and the pair of them steal off the road. And that was very, very tight indeed. Tony Wells, as he tried to make the move on Burgess, just got caught in the traffic. Garmston clambers clear, very glad to see that. So in terms of the final results, then it's the win for Jesper Westholm, 2nd place Oscar Kruger, and Steve Burgess completes the podium.
Jasper, a great weekend for you.
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. Everything went well except the qualifying. Couldn't have been better.
But it's what we call a textbook weekend. Everything went exactly as you would have planned, and great results to move forward in the season.
Yeah, it was kind of the same the race now. I got a fantastic start and I took the lead and just drove as fast as I could, and it worked again, so it's fantastic.
Oscar, 3rd in the first race and 2nd in the 2nd race. That's a good improvement for you, working your way up towards the top step.
Yeah, I am happy. I had a very good weekend. I have never been on the podium before in Radical in Sweden, so I'm very happy.
That last lap looked kind of difficult for you, and you were alongside all the action.
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 laps we were sort of closing up on this group of backmarkers that are having their own race. So I was just hoping we were going to see the checker flag before we got to them. But sort of carnage broke out when we did. I think one car just clipped the front of another, and that was pretty much it. Luckily I was on the far side of the track and managed to avoid it all.
Well, good result for you as well.
Yeah, pleased with the result.
Well, that brings us to the end of the racing here today at Brands Hatch. And Jesper Westerholm heads home to Sweden, a very happy young man having taken the double win. We'll see you next time here with Radical.